What's up, YouTube family? We're back with another crazy one, and today we are literally going to be breaking down a trade which we actually did call right there in the community, and we actually did flip off from, right? So firstly, we are literally going to start with me showing you how we are able to like do this, and then my entries. So if you're practically new to this YouTube channel, don't forget to like and subscribe, and click on the link in this particular video description to be part of our free Telegram community, right? So firstly, we actually did have a starting balance of 88 USD, right? And we were able to like take this 88 USD over to 15K, right? Now, for those of you literally who are new to this channel, as I did say, don't forget to click on the link in this particular video description to be part of our free Telegram community. And as you also see right here, we actually do have the mentee actually replicating the setups and doing the same thing, right? We were able to like have a mentee take 100 USD to over 1000 USD, right? He literally did catch the same thing as I did. So this was literally the starting balance versus our entry, right? We actually did have 88 USD. We literally did have it floating over 1000 USD. And this was literally the entry. So I'm literally going to show you how you can be able to do this, right? So we closed around 887 USD in profit, right? From $88, right? And we were able to like take a re-entry where we actually did take the 800 USD all the way to 15K, right? So we're literally going to show you how to do this. So this was literally our entry on the chart. We actually did have a prop firm cleared up still with this same setup, right? As we can see right here, we actually have this floating over 15,000 USD in profit, right? All from just one particular point. Now the question is, how do you do this, right? So this is literally a setup which I've broken down over and over and over right here on this particular YouTube channel, right? So again, let's go over this and then see how you can be able to replicate this in real time without taking or complicating things, right? So far for the week, we've literally had over 4 over 4, right? Which we actually did have 4 wins with 0 losses, right? And still, these are literally trade which we actually did take right here in the community. We actually did smash a prop from just a few minutes ago, and you should like expect a breakdown on how to like pass your prop from, right? So this is literally the trade taking. We actually did see we did smash a phase one right here with this particular trade, right? So we actually do say we prioritize precision. And again, let's hop onto the chart and see how you can do this, right? So starting off with the trade which we actually did take and how we were able to like do this, right? So first thing first, we actually did have us scaling to the higher time frame, and this was me literally approaching price from the perspective of a day trading setup, right? So on this particular note, we actually do see the presence of this forward engulfing candle, right? And based on what I literally did say previously, we actually do prioritize this kind of engulfing candles more, right? And they literally tend to like quote price more. So we actually do see the presence of this particular bearish engulfing candle, right? And if you do actually take a look straight up, right, we can literally see that this was literally a failed engulfing bullish engulfing candle, and the price actually did proceed to give us a bearish candle. So this was a bullish engulfing candle, and then price actually failed to continue all the way to the upside, and we did expand impossibly to the downside, right? So we can also take a look at this in respect to structure, right, and in respect to support and resistance type, support and resistance type two, right? So you can literally see this key level price broke above it, below it, came back down, we made a lower high, lower low, and so let's say we are literally expecting or we were literally anticipating price to give us a lower high and expand further to the downside. This is in respect to price action, right? And in respect to support and resistance, we actually do have first test right here, price broke it, and then we actually did see price retest it, drop back down, and then we did retest this for the second time, making this a double retest, right? So if you actually look in respect to support and resistance, this is a support zone right here, okay? And this is a resistance, and this is a resistance, and the price dropped all the way to the downside, right? Now, in respect to how I trade, we actually do look at this from a perspective of the in-depth core of what is present on the chart, right? And we can literally see at this particular point, we do have the presence of a bearish engulfing candle. Hence, this has literally filtered out the entire noise of trying to make use of this level. And this level, we are literally going to get focused on this particular bearish engulfing candle and what we literally have been present right inside this particular candle, right? So after mapping out the engulfing candle, as we did say, on a typical engulfing candle, be it bullish or bearish, right? We actually have the presence of SNL levels, right? And we're talking about support and resistance levels. So this is practically a 4-hour bearish engulfing candle, right? And if you actually do scale all the way to the lower time frame, so as I did say, your lower time frame can literally be any particular chart of your choice. But based on this particular video, I'm literally going to break down my approach, right? So we actually did scale down all the way to the 15 minutes time frame. Now on the 15 minutes time frame, you literally have the easiest approach ever, right? You actually did have the easiest approach present on the chart, right? So this is literally us seeing the presence of a typical head and shoulder pattern, right? So this is the entire engulfing candle. This is where we actually want to have our area of focus, right? So this is it. You actually do have the presence of this shoulder right here, and this is a head, and we expect price to give us the right shoulder, right? Now remember I talked about this pattern, and at the same time, you can literally see price actually did have the same pattern which I talked about in respect to price action, right? Now, of course, price action incorporates support and resistance, supply and demand, and so on, right? But I literally like to break it down in respect to what this is and what that is, right? So we actually do have the presence of this level, same pattern right here, but already price has made use of this. So we can literally say, oh, this was literally correct. Now let's take a look at valid levels. Now, in respect to a head and shoulder pattern, right, or a QML, we can see that price already did retest this particular level, hence making this invalid, right? So we can literally say, all right, the 15 minutes level has to be here. We actually do see that price has already retested this particular level, right? Hence, we can say this particular level has to be valid, right? This is invalid, this has been invalidated, or let's say these are no longer fresh levels, right? And we actually do see that price actually did have this first one, and then we actually did come for a second retest, right? So this means that we are no longer looking out for price to play or make use of any of these particular 1, 2, or 3 levels, right? We actually want to see a fresh zone in sight, right? We actually do have the presence of this shoulder, and then price did give us this side, and we actually anticipate price to give us the right shoulder, right? So this is automatically going to refine our level all the way from having that big zone all the way to this particular level, right? Now, after that on price, we actually want to scale back all the way to the 30 minutes or the 5 minutes, right? Now, you can also look at for these patterns on the 30 minutes, right? But for the sake of clarity, you want to look at for this on the 15 minutes, right? So after that, we actually want to confirm if there is an engulfing candle present on the 30 minutes, right? And we actually do see the presence of a 30 minutes bearish engulfing candle right there, nested all in the 15 minutes, right? Again, if you're literally new to this particular YouTube channel, don't forget to like and subscribe, and then click on the link in this particular video description to be part of our free Telegram community where we call out this particular trade and post all of these particular trade calls, right? After identifying the presence of the bearish engulfing candle, I'm literally scaling all the way to the 5 minutes to look at for a valid supply and demand, right? Now, everyone literally have their own way of mapping out the supply and demand. But since this is the QML level, right, I'm literally going to be making use of this entire zone right here. So this was literally the supply zone, which originated this entire move to the downside, right? And this was the one of the confirmations for this particular trade was the fact that on the 15 minutes time frame, we actually have this to be a fresh level that price has literally not played off, right? And we can see this was a large wick that was present right here before price expansion all the way to the downside, right? So this was literally a good one. I won't lie, this was literally a good one. Now, price actually did rally all the way to the upside after failing to give us a setup right here. We actually did see price expansion all the way to the upside. And of course, the market literally did open right here, and then we did expand all the way to the downside, right? So this was literally late Asia section. We can literally take a trade when it's about market closing, right? You actually want to make sure you take a trade after the market has opened, right? Because you're literally going to get any single movement that should actually happen begin at that particular point. So price actually did create this bearish candle and literally started expanding all the way to the downside. But no, this literally happened with price creating the presence of what? We actually do see price create the presence of a QML, right? But I'm not literally going to focus on this head and shoulder pattern or QML present. I'm literally going to focus more this supply candle that was literally present in respect to a structural trend, right? Now, the reason I did make use of a supply candle right there is because I literally had it at this same level as this QML, so or this set previous shoulder, right? Hence, it's literally easy to like play the same game over and over again. Now, price actually did come all the way into this particular level. We took our first entry, and then price pulled back straight up into this level, key level, and then we took our second entry all the way to the downside. And this is literally what I did say right there on the chart, right? So this was literally the basis for the first entry, and then the first entry we literally did have it getting stacked all the way of the 1 minute, right? And we can see this was where the entry was at. We actually did take shots all the way to the downside, capitalizing on this, right? So for flipping, the first target, right? The first target is where you literally go all in. That is where you actually want to risk every single thing, right? And if it goes well, you're literally set, right? And if it fails, you literally have to like start back up or like start from where you literally stopped, if I have to put it that way. Now we go back to the chat, right? So we are able to like have that being employed, and then we actually did close for the right. We actually did close at this particular point or right here, and we did see price come all the way to this 15 minutes level, right? Now our equity was literally at 1K, but we actually did take a couple of losses trying to like shut off the 1 minute level that has a 5 minutes confluence, right? But it failed, hence we were able to like cut our losses on time. Now we actually do have the presence of this particular key level, right? So let's say this is a break and then price came back to retest this still into the supply with price at this weak area and boom, right? And then price expanded all the way to the downside. Now the goal was literally to hold all the way to TP, but we actually did see this particular low and there was a set of presence right here, which we actually did hold all the way to that, right? So right there on the channel, right, we actually did see our entry right here. Okay, we literally did have our entry right here. We were literally floating up in 7K. And just there, we actually did see the impulse coming price and we actually expanded all the way to the downside. And this was literally all possible with precision, right? We can see this right here. As we always just say, easy breakdown, easy shit. And this is a price drop impulsively all the way to the downside. Now, going back to the chart, going back to the chart, right, we actually did see price expand quickly all the way to the downside, tapped into the next level, which we actually did have our longs coming. But again, this was literally all possible with precision, right? So this was how we were able to like take 88 USD to over 15K, right? Now, when we actually do say capital is never the problem, right? There are literally many ways to approach the market. You can literally go through prop firms, you can literally go through flipping or trading your own money, right? You literally don't need to do what other people are literally doing. You just have to like do what works for you, right? And that is how easy it's going to be. So capital is never a problem. You actually have prop firms there, which actually offer as low as $5,000 account. And then you actually do have your own broker, which can literally offer you over a 1:1,000 or 500 leverage, right? So there's literally no excuse to uh, staying at one particular point or complaining about capital, right? So guys, this is literally all for today. And if you're particularly new to this YouTube channel, don't forget to like and subscribe and click on the link in this particular video description to join our free Telegram community. See you guys on the next slide.